I'm Julie Mason. Terry Holt is former spokesperson to President George W. Bush and former House Speaker John Boehner. He is senior communications advisor to the Cost Coalition. Andrew Bates, former spokesperson to President Joe Biden, a Democrat senior advisor to the Cost Coalition. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
What is the Cost Coalition? Why do we care? Why are you involved? Tell me everything.
The Cost Coalition is about Americans' top concern by far, which is affordability. That was the case in 2024, and it is the case now. And we came together because we were both concerned about the agenda that the Trump administration and these congressional majorities were putting in place, because we all remember that they promised they were going to lower costs on day one or immediately. Those are direct quotes from Donald Trump when he was running. But if you look at the consequences of these tariffs, which are now the biggest tax hike on working people in American history, or if you look at these tax giveaways to rich folks, which are increasing the debt and increasing prices, or the cuts that they made to Medicaid, the biggest in our history, raising healthcare costs, same with the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, this government broke its promise to you and raised the costs that you wanted lowered. And we think that it's very important for folks like us to pay attention to what people actually need and to hold this government accountable for taking prices in the wrong direction and selling out to folks who are already well connected and have a lot of money.
I don't know if you guys have done your taxes yet for the year, but I didn't get any benefit from that one big, beautiful bill. I think, and you know, the administration, Scott Besson especially, keep talking about how when people get their refunds, it's going to be amazing. Like, that's the golden age. I'm still waiting. Terry, what about you?
Well, I didn't really see much of a return because of the big, beautiful bill, but I saw lots of damage to Republicans, as well as Democrats in red states, just as much as in blue. And this cost coalition really is about pulling together difference makers out in America's communities, that organize themselves in their daily lives, not around politics, but around their commitment to the community and their role in it. And we're working particularly with veterans, with military families, with faith families, and small businesses to raise local voices up in key places around the country and putting our money where our mouth is, having an authentic voice in the cost crisis debate so that politicians get the real effect of prices and costs, not just at the grocery store, but at the ballot box, where the economy is going to be very much on the line in 2026. We want to make sure that the Washington politics that are following Trumpism down this tariffs and tax cuts for the rich pipeline are going to have to pay at the ballot box, from the votes of average Americans who are tired of living from paycheck to paycheck and from hand to mouth. We think there's a new coalition out there of folks that include people who voted for Trump in the 2024 election. And so for us, the big priority is to make those local voices really reverberate in key places around the country, but also to nationalize that and to make sure that there is a construct where we are seeing the cost crisis and the affordability crisis stay at the center of attention for the 2026 midterms.
It does feel like a crisis. And Andrew, it's perplexing how little we've heard from Congress, for example, about tariffs.
I agree with you because the tariffs themselves are extremely unpopular, whether people are liberal, conservative, or something else. They know that those are raising their daily costs. You know, at the grocery store, when they need to buy a new appliance, there's job loss that has happened across the country, especially in the manufacturing sector, as a result of them. And something that I really can't get past is you have a lot of folks representing red states or red leaning communities who, like Terry was talking talking about are feeling the most financial pain from this. And if I were a member of Congress, it would be very easy for me to see that there's a fork here. You can either choose what is in your constituents' economic interests, or you can keep being a rubber stamp for a policy that is moving us backwards and that is actively breaking the key promise that Republicans made in 2024.
Well, killing the golden goose is really what it is. I mean, there's a kleptocracy going on in this country. The corruption that's taking place in this administration is so fast and furious that every day you really have a new outrage and you can't focus on any one of them. But what it boils down to is that this economy is being raided by the haves, and the have-nots are going to work as hard as they can to get ahead, and they still want the opportunity to become a have-not, to become a have when it gets down to it. We still want the opportunities that America promised us, but under the circumstances under Trump, it's just not possible.
I mean, you guys are really onto something. I'm looking at this latest CBS News polling that just came out today. They asked Americans, do they think economic opportunities have been increasing for wealthy people and for the middle class? 62% said yes, for wealthy people. 16% said for the middle class. 16%. Ouch.
Yeah, it's a situation where the fundamental compact was just broken. I remember watching a lot of the stump speeches in 2024 where Trump was talking about how this is a rigged system and he was going to stand up to the establishment for working folks. And if you look at what has instead happened, if you are someone who can afford a Mar-a-Lago membership, your taxes have gone down, you're doing better than ever. But if you're one of the folks who he promised to fight for, you're paying more, you're working harder to get less and less, and you're looking at folks in Washington build ballrooms to glorify themselves, talking about how they hope housing costs go up because then they can make more money when they flip houses. And you're seeing folks begging for help, instead laughing in their faces, taking them for granted. And we think there's a real reckoning to be had. And this is a time when folks in leadership need to choose. Are you with folks outside of Washington, or are you going to try and cash in on something that is going to be very short-lived?
Check them out at costcoalition.org. Terry Holt, former spokesperson for President George W. Bush, and John Boehner. Andrew Bates worked for President Joe Biden. Thanks so much, you guys.